newly released survey shows that 1 in 5 students experienced some forms of sexual harassment or assault on Australian campuses last year.
Around 30,000 people answered the survey for Australia's Human Rights Commission and leading universities. The chief executive of Universities Australia, Belinda Robinson, told CNC that this is the first step in the process of ending sexual assault on Australian university campuses.
The report released today demonstrates that universities have a really important role to play in ensuring that university students have a safe and respectful place to study.
Robinson added the universities also should play a significant role in helping to change culture inside and outside the university.
And I think what it shows too is not just that universities have a role to play within their own community, but university leaders, given their position in society, can also play a really significant role in helping to change culture both inside the university and outside the university around respectful relations.
Robinson said this issue is not limited to Australia, but rather is one which is pervasive around the globe.
This issue around sexual assault and sexual harassment is one that I think countries all around the world are grappling with, and sectors all around the world are grappling with. And I think what we've seen today is that universities are no different.
The university boss said this was the first time that university sectors have come together like this to see this behavior is not acceptable. Robinson also stressed that international students are of the highest priority for Australian universities.
This is a key issue for us. International students are so welcome on our campuses, and we want to make sure that, again, that we've got the evidence base to know what matters to them and how they can be best supported when they travel here.
The number of new HIV infections in the Philippines has more than doubled in the past 6 years. While numbers are still low, the country now has the fastest growing HIV population in Asia and the Pacific.
According to a report of UNAIDS agency, the number of new infections in the Philippines rose from 4,300 in 2010 to 10,500 in 2016. Philippines has now become one of 8 countries that account for more than 90% of new HIV infections annually in Asia and the Pacific. Data showed that 83% of newly reported HIV cases last year occurred among men who have sex with other males and transgender partners. The majority are aged 15 to 24 years old, among which only about a third had a correct knowledge of HIV transmission and prevention. The Philippine Department of Health is providing antiretroviral medicine for free to anyone who tests positive for HIV, as well as other outpatient services to worth up to $600 a year per person.
Nigeria has launched a nationwide campaign to scale up infant nutrition through breastfeeding. Let's take a look.
Apart from the wider health benefits, the West African country is hoping to meet a global target of having at least 50% babies breastfed by 2025. The new nationwide campaign was launched as the 2017 World Breastfeeding Week kicked off throughout the globe. According to the Nigerian Minister of Health, only about 25% of mothers in parts of Nigeria know that newborns must be fed only breast milk during the first 6 months of life. Currently, the level of exclusive breastfeeding in Nigeria is only 17%. UNICEF said that the low rate of exclusive breastfeeding leads to more than 100,000 child deaths and translates into almost $12 billion in future economic losses for the country. Through the newly launched campaign, the Nigerian government said it will also disseminate accurate information on the value of breastfeeding as a powerful intervention for health and economic development, as well as, of course, benefiting both children and women.
The Gates Foundation is closely collaborating with a range of international and local partners towards promoting, supporting, and protecting breastfeeding in Nigeria.
The benefits of breastfeeding are enormous, including providing babies with the essential nutrients and antibodies that protect them from malnutrition, preventable diseases, and even death.
The destination of 2024 and 2028 Olympics looks to have been settled. With just 2 bidders remaining, Los Angeles has offered Paris to host the first one to coincide with the century since France last hosted the Games.
Los Angeles Mayor Eric Garcetti announced on Monday that it will host the 2028 Summer Olympics after striking a deal with the International Olympic Committee, the IOC. At the news conference, Garcetti said the event will make LA a 3-time Olympic city after hosting the 1932 and 1984 Games.
I am proud to announce that the Olympic Games are coming back to the United States of America. In 2028, we're bringing the Games back to LA, one of the great capitals of this Olympic movement, a city that has always been a Games changer and will be again in 2028.
In January of 2015, LA lost the bid to represent the United States in the bid for the 2024 Olympic and Paralympic Games. That was a tough moment for me personally and for all of us in Los Angeles. But we never gave up on our Olympic dream. We fought on and we fought hard because we knew that LA represented the Olympics' best chance to embrace the future at a time when it needed it the most. And here we are, almost 2.5 years later, poised to bring the 2028 Olympic and Paralympic Games back to Los Angeles for the 3rd time.
Under the agreement, the IOC will offer at least $1.8 billion to the Los Angeles Organizing Committee. Besides, a Los Angeles Organizing Committee would receive the funds of $180 million from IOC in view of the longer planning period. It also aims to increase participation and access to local youth sports programs in the 11 years before the Games.
Our Olympic and Paralympic legacy isn't just about the games themselves. It's about the tremendous value of inspiration, teamwork, and competition in shaping the lives of young people throughout the world. I can't wait to follow the sun to LA.
Normally, the honor of hosting the Olympics follows an intense worldwide competition, but high costs of staging the month-long Games means that countries are becoming warier. Of the 5 initial bids, local pressure in Hamburg and Budapest forced officials to withdraw their bids, while Rome dropped out, citing financial troubles. The deal formalizing Paris and LA is likely to be approved at the next IOC session in Lima, Peru in September.
This year's Volleyball World Grand Prix is held in East China's Nanjing. Despite the last-minute training, China's team took a time off this week to help out local children's charity. Lao Styles went along to see more.
Children at the Nanjing Children Welfare Office had a surprise on Monday as members from China's volleyball team stopped by for a visit. They brought with them specially designed T-shirts and signed volleyballs before joining in with a few games with the children. According to Hui Ruoqi, the image ambassador of this year's competition, the visit was all about attracting carers.
98% of these children are congenitally disabled. I hope the campaign can motivate a greater number of people to care about these children and help them embrace a brighter future.
Regina Tickles, the FIVB Special Projects Director, said physical education not only helps children to grow healthy, it can act as a bridge to the rest of society.
Because we believe that sports and education together can change the world. I'm a Brazilian, I know very well, because I used to live in a poor country, and we have a lot of examples for the players that they came from the poor areas like favelas, and now they are champions, Olympic champions, because they played hard, because the sports give opportunities to everybody to change their lives. It's really important.
Each year, thousands of people from around the world arrive in China to start a new life. Ahead of the upcoming BRICS summit being held in Xiamen in September, we spoke to a young Russian student and asked about her life in the city.
My name is Anna. I'm from Moscow, Russia. This year I've graduated from Xiamen University, Wandianan Institute of Economic Research. My major is finance. I've been living in Xiamen for more than 2 years. And Xiamen is not my first city in China, but it is my favorite one. I worked for 1 year and then I decided that I need to continue my education. So I have few Chinese friends and they told me that Xiamen is a very nice city with nice environment and seaside. And then I have a friend who graduated from the program that I've been studying now, and he told me that the level of education in Xiamen University is pretty good, and according to his advice, I decided to come to Xiamen University. So before I came to Xiamen, I didn't know that much about the city. I just knew that there is a seaside, and that was very exciting. And then I came here alone, and I was a bit afraid, but on the first night in my hostel, I met a very nice Chinese local girl, and she showed me around the first night, and the next day she helped me with all the papers in university, and we became really good friends. So my first impression of Xiamen was really nice. I was surprised how friendly and welcoming people are here. I will have very warm memories from Xiamen University because all the professors, all the office people, they were very nice to us. I've been learning finance in a very international environment. We had a group of 30 international students, and I will definitely miss our classes when we would sit all together and laugh with professors, and they would make jokes, and we will be learning some new things. And after classes we would go and have lunch together, and we would do homework together. If we would have any questions, we would help each other. I would definitely miss this atmosphere. Chinese and Russian relationships has been really good for a long time, traditionally. And in the BRICS framework, this relationship can achieve a new level. Like, say, for example, I know that there's been done some work on creation of a bank that would be attached to BRICS, that would be like an opponent for International Monetary Fund, and to help to raise money for developing countries. And in this framework, there is a lot of work that can be done, and for me particularly, that represents a lot of opportunities. As majoring in finance, I know that both Russia and China are trying to make their currencies more international. So there's been cooperation between banks and governmental organizations in this financial industry. And as I have graduated from one of the best universities in finance area in China, and I can speak English and Chinese, so I think I could facilitate this process. So I plan to find a job in China and stay for a couple of more years and then see, because I think that I have more opportunities in China at this moment. And I really like China. I like Chinese culture, and I've been traveling a lot in China. For Russian people, the impression of China is sometimes very limited, but as being a person who lived in China for such a long time, I would like to be able to tell people how China is very different and how diverse it is, and that would be one of my goals for now.
The world's first giant panda cub with both captive and wild parents was born early Monday in southwest China's Sichuan province. Lafdals has the details.
According to authorities, the cub marked success in experiments to encourage captive pandas to mate with wild pandas in order to increase the genetic diversity of the captive stock. The 15-year-old female giant panda Cao Cao gave birth to the cub at the Hetaoping semi-wild training base. She started to show signs of pregnancy on July 1st and went into labor on July 30th. The male cub weighed a healthy 216 grams, way above the newborn average of 150 grams. Researchers attribute the cub's unusually high weight to the good health and appetite of the mother during pregnancy. Wearing a positioning system and a recording device on her neck, Cao Cao was released into the wild on March the 11th and mated with a wild male panda on March the 23rd. Cao Cao was born in the wild and was rescued in 2003 at 2 years old. She has delivered 6 cubs in captivity including 2 pairs of twins. For the most of the last 7 years, she has lived at the Hetaoping Training Center, where she demonstrated strong adaptability to living in the wild. As of the end of last year, the worldwide captive giant panda population stood at 471, leading the growing concerns of inbreeding. Experts believe that babies from captive and wild parents would enrich the gene pool of the captive stock.
An, the world's oldest panda, celebrated its 31st birthday in Hong Kong on Tuesday. Lifestyles takes you to have a share of his cake.
An's birthday party and celebrations are underway for the world's oldest giant panda. On show are some appropriately featured panda clothes designed by locals to promote animal protection. The other 2 pandas in Hong Kong, Ying and Le, are also going to celebrate their birthdays soon. And according to the park's panda keeper, there may be more reason to celebrate. The females are showing signs of pregnancy. Despite his years, An is still quite young compared to the all-time record. His one-time next-door neighbor at the zoo, Jia, lived until she was 38. According to the Guinness World Records, that's around 111 in human years.
As Greece expects to see another boom in tourism this summer, short-term vacation rentals in Athens have reached new record-breaking levels. Let's take a look.
According to the independent Inside Airbnb service, Athens properties listed on the popular platform have doubled since the beginning of 2017, currently surpassing 5,130. In a crisis-stricken country, many proprietors have found it hard in recent years to cope with heavy taxation or mortgage on the properties. Short-term rental has given many of them a way out of their financial dead end, while others see in Airbnb a chance to multiply the profit they would normally make from traditional forms of lease.
More and more owners of properties near the city centre turn to Airbnb. Because of the high touristic demand, the considerable earnings and the fiscal framework which still remains vague in Greece. Especially nowadays, not many people can afford to leave a property unexploited.
A survey has found that 68% of the hosts claim that they rely on this income to stay afloat in difficult economic times.
It offers a stable job that can be done by anyone. You don't have to be specialized. A high school graduate and a university professor alike can do this job more or less in the same way. Who is better at this job only depends on their communication skills and how gifted they are in hospitality.
Topanakis and his brother got into the short-term rental business in May 2016. They founded House of Athens, which now operates 5 more vacation residences of cultural value in the historical center of Athens and have plans to further expanding their business.
My family already owned this listed historic building, so we decided to put it on Airbnb and profit as much as we could from it. In only 1 year, this job has given us very good earnings and has helped us lay a solid foundation for our professional future from a very young age.
According to the same survey, in only 1 year, Airbnb boosted the Greek economy by $81.1 million and supported over 1,000 jobs, while attracting new visitors to Athens. As many visitors explain, the main reason behind Airbnb's phenomenal success is the increasing need of modern travelers for a more genuine, immersive experience and offers them a chance to peek behind the scenes.
The local touch is irreplaceable, and that's really what makes tourism interesting. The local flavor is definitely more accessible when you stay in somebody's house, so it really is kind of like a shortcut, if you will, to the local community that you wouldn't otherwise have.
In Athens, vacation rentals can be found in more than 25 neighborhoods of the city, while 69% of the listings are not located in areas where someone would find hotels easily. As a result, Airbnb takes foreigners to traditionally residential areas. And this new arrival slowly changes it all. On the one hand, vacation rentals breathe new life into the small quarters, including a much-needed urban facelift, encouraging new small businesses to pop up and boosting local economy and real estate market.
Λόγω της οικονομικής κρίσης,
due to the economic crisis, there is a great number of properties in Athens for sale at very low prices. Lately, we receive calls on a daily basis from people, especially foreign funds, who wish to invest in these properties in order to exploit them as vacation rentals.
On the other hand, not everyone is happy with this turn. Long-time low-income residents find it increasingly difficult to keep or find an affordable quality apartment to rent near the city center.
Υπάρχουν πολλές περιπτώσεις όπου
There have been many cases where owners discontinue the long-term lease of their property in order to put it on Airbnb, because comparatively it's more profitable, flexible, and financially secure.
"云天无际，承载梦想。中国南方航空是中国运输飞机最多、航线网络最发达、年客运量最大的航空公司。亚洲第一，全球第三，是南航缔造的业界奇迹。蓝天壮志情，云海谱华章。
专业的团队，丰厚的经验。
Welcome to Chicago. Welcome to the Lake Cook Law Group.
投资理财、法律咨询，芝加哥专业律师团队为您的梦想提供最安全的保障。
Hi, this is Little Chinese Channel, 小小中文 Lesson 46. In this lesson, we'll be teaching you these 5 radicals. For the first radical, we use a san from lesson 1. And 1 downstroke to the left, and another downstroke to the right. This radical is called 冲字头. 冲字头, 冲字头, 冲字头 comes from the character 冲, which means spring. This radical is often at the top of a character. Here are some examples of that. For the next radical, we use a stroke that looks like this, a dot, 2 more dots, and a downstroke to the right. This radical is called 灯字头, 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 灯字头 comes from the character 灯, which means mounting. This radical is also usually at the top of a character. Here are some examples of that. For the third radical, we use 1 vertical stroke that's very short, 2 dots, another dot, finally a horizontal stroke with a hook at the end. This radical is called 党字头, 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 党字头. This radical comes from the character 党, which means a political party. This radical is also usually at the top of a character. 党字头 is the building block of these characters. Next radical, we use 1 vertical stroke, 1 short horizontal stroke, horizontal stroke with a hook at the end, a downstroke to the left, the horizontal stroke, and then a stroke that looks like a long tail. This radical is called 虎字头, 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 comes from the character 虎, which means tiger. This radical is usually at the top of a character. Here are some examples of that. For the last radical, we use a downstroke to the left, horizontal stroke, then a dot. Another downstroke to the left, horizontal stroke, and a dot. This radical is called 竹字头, 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 comes from the character 竹, which means bamboo. This radical is often at the top of a character. Here are some examples of that. Okay, that's right. Remember when you're writing to follow the stroke sequence. Shun字头, Deng字头, Dang字头, Pu字头, Zhu字头. Bye-bye, the lesson is done.
同心地产，芝加哥最大的华人中介团队，无论是家居或是商业地产，给你带来全方位的最佳服务。